Wow, man, you really do not believe in the GOAT anymore.
No,
He
I'm not.
would,
It's not me saying I don't believe in him. It's me saying I think there's going to be other dudes who make jumps. If you had to pick somebody outside the top 20 to go into the top 10 this year, who would you say? Coming out with a signature series Buzz. The Buzz, arguably the best disc, the only disc you need to play disc golf with. The Buzz. You can putt, you can drive, you can approach everything with it.
I feel like she has a ton of expectation just on the size of the deal she got and coming to a company like Dynamic Disc, who is smaller than some of these other bigger companies.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome into the Chain Clankers Disc Golf Podcast. Another fun show for you guys today. We're going to be continuing to talk about sponsorship updates and just kind of looking at disc golf at a broad level of what is the impact of the 2022 offseason, what are some 22 predictions that we have, those kinds of things. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Pro Tour. We're going to be talking about Hailey, Chris Dickerson, Katrina Allen, maybe even Nico LaCastro might make a appearance in our Chopping It Up session. So it's going to be super fun and very excited to get into all these juicy details. I know some of you guys have been like really loving these episodes. We're going to try to give you guys a little bit more of this content here in this year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in my co-host Ratio. How are we doing today, man?
I'm good. Just staring out this window, looking at the snow, and it's like minus 15. So definitely not going to be playing today. I don't know about you, but yeah, it's not that fun when it's this cold.
No, it doesn't look fun out there. But as we were talking pre-show, you gave me some ideas about slanging that I need to go figure out how to do now. And so I might go put some long johns on and a hoodie or two, and I might put the gloves on and get out there. I won't have fun, and it won't be fun because the wind is like 30 miles per hour. But I just want to see. I want to see what happens. My Chris Dickerson disc is supposed to get here today, so I am excited for that. It's Saturday, January 15th. Playoff football's on today. KU basketball plays today, and my Chris Dickerson ESP Buzz gets here today. Oh my goodness, what a day!
So it's just snuggle up in your Snuggie with your Chris Dickerson, just cuddled up on the couch and watch some
pretty much
foosball, some basketball.
Yeah, my fiance is not going to be here this weekend, so it's literally just going to be me and Chris and our two dogs just cuddling all weekend long.
Put some hot chocolate, get some hot chocolate marshmallows going.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, it's gonna be a good time. I'm excited to throw that disc. Like, I know that signature series discs are always a little bit different from the stock mold of whatever discs that they have. So I'm kind of interested to just kind of see what design I get, because you just always get a rando one, and then B, how does that buzz compare to the other buzzes in my bag? I think something that I've focused on this offseason is really trying to find mid-ranges for my game. And I think I've settled on the buzz as the mid-range that I want to go to. So if I put that in the bag, that would give me an ESP one, a big Z one, and I think 2 Z line ones. So like, at least it wouldn't be literally the exact same disc. They're all kind of different molds and stuff like that, or different plastic types. So I'm pretty excited for it. I think it's gonna be pretty good. And the stamp is just pretty dope.
Yeah. I feel like Drew Gibson should have a signature buzz as much like he throws it. That's why I feel like it's pretty cool. Like, he gets to throw an open basket, but then I feel like he is like a free advertisement, like for Discraft, because there was that one tournament where he was throwing the buzz so much, and they just kept saying, "Oh, that was the buzz, the Discraft buzz," and he just kept parking it. He just kept killing it. And like, people are gonna want that disc, seeing him throw like that. But like, he's making sales for Discraft, not even being sponsored. So I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is such a weird concept. Like, I've never really thought about it like that. But like, those open bag players, like Eric Oakley, like Drew Gibson, like if they have their infinite discs and then they're throwing the Discraft buzz or whatever, are people going to discraft.com to buy that buzz, or are they going to infinite.com to buy that buzz? Like, that is, I don't know, like, that's something that I think about a little bit now, but I definitely understand and see your point, and it's very interesting.
Like, if people go to, I feel like some people order discs online, but I feel like still a lot of majorities, especially like around town, I feel like people still go into the stores. Mm-hmm. So like, you can't buy it really an infinite disc in store. They have like their own line of discs, but you don't see that many of them. But I mean, if you want a Discraft buzz because you just saw Drew Gibson rip it up all weekend, you go to the store, you're gonna buy the Discraft one. Like, It's just because it's going to be there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think there's definitely a pretty good amount of people who buy online. I prefer to buy in store just because I have to have that connection with that disc. Like, this is so weird. Maybe if you guys agree with me, comment on YouTube, let me know on Instagram, like the video, whatever it is. I just have to have that connection with the disc in order to like want to buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can see a picture of it and then feel it and be like, this was not it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just a me thing.
Is it that, or is it just like instant gratification?
Instant gratification. That's probably what it is. But like I know, like for example, like the Hades, like I want a domier Hades, and like if you buy online, you're just taking a chance. Where if I can feel it up in stores, then I know it's either what I want or not what I want.
Yeah, which we are just talking about that a little bit about the Hades. Like, I don't like this new run of Hades. They're more overstable for sure. But I don't know if you guys follow us on Instagram, you guys saw our story from a few days ago. And I literally had a come up at the plate again. There was like 8 disc wrap discs, and they were all like pretty much brand new. Someone just turned them in, so they were for sale in the used bin. But literally, they were all like pretty brand new discs. I left the Z-Line Avenger SS and the Zone because I have plenty of Zones and I don't like Z-Line, but all the other 6 were ESP, which those brand new are like $24, but I got them all for $8. So 2 that I did get were the Avenger SS ESP and the Nuke SS ESP. And man, I was loving the Avenger SS. Like it was doing what my old Hades used to do. So I might have to start throwing more Avenger SSs. I think another guest we had on also was like, oh, you should try out the Avenger SS. So glad I finally picked one. But yeah, might replace the Hades.
Yeah, I feel like it'll fly a lot more natural, like you would want a Hades to fly. Because I agree. I feel like the new ones that have come out are definitely beefier than the protos and the first runs, which kind of stinks. But the Avenger SS, I mean, also with it being a couple of ticks slower, you don't have to throw it as hard. So it's probably even easier to throw and get that distance with. So definitely one that has been intermittent in my bag, not in my bag. As I'm kind of really working on my form, I think it'll make its way back in because I don't think I have a fairway for that shot type yet. So I think it's kind of between that and the heat right now. Just kind of depending on, I don't know. I just have to get back out to the field with both of them. But definitely, yeah, the Hades continues to be pretty overstable comparatively to what it was. I will definitely continue to pick those up because those still seem to kind of hold their value. But yeah, play it again. If sneaky tip for everyone, play it again, man. I'll tell you what, not an ad, not a sponsor. They can be though, but not a sponsor. Play it again. The used bin, 20 to 60% of the time is going to be very clutch.
Yeah. A lot of times it's just crap, but sometimes you find some good stuff.
Yeah.
I would say probably like over half of my bag is probably used discs.
And you don't even have to beat them in because they're somewhat already beat in. So that's another pro.
Yeah. Especially, if you guys, I know like one of the employees that works there, they're really good about when they get discs in or other used ones posting on the local Facebook group. So if you're not in the local disc golf group or whatever, join them on Facebook. It's definitely like they posted that, I think that night. And then I just happened to be off the next day. So I was just on that side of town and it was like within 15, 20 minutes and they opened. So I was like the first one to like go and get them because everyone else was at work. And so I picked them all up and they were gone. So I was like, hey,
you're the scalper.
Yeah.
Do they have names and numbers on the back of them? Or were they
those
clean?
Didn't.
Really? The one that I got did have a name and number on the back. But they put the like barcode or the price tag or whatever over it. And then I couldn't rip the price tag off clean. And I was like, well, screw it. This is just going to stay on here so people know that I didn't take this from somebody and hold on to it.
No, mine, the stickers hadn't been on there long enough that they like literally just came off super easy.
That is honestly so satisfying. when I can rip the sticker off the disc and it's just one
Yeah.
clean rip. I don't know about you guys, but
Rolls off.
oh,
Yeah.
I love that. That is so nice. Oh man. Well, fun start. Horatio, before we kind of get into some Pro Tour talk to me a little bit. What's kind of going on in your game? I know you played on Monday, so, just kind of maybe update everyone how you're feeling this off season, kind of maybe some things you've kind of picked up on, or, now think is stupid or whatever. Just talk to me a little bit before we get into this.
Yeah, it's just been super busy. Haven't been able to play, like I've said, I have not been able to play as much as I used to. And this last week, yeah, I went to play. It was super nice how we had the time, so we went to play. And it's just me, my wife, and the kid. And I don't know why, but like something about when it's just us and we go play, like I tend to do pretty, I feel like, because I'm just relaxed. There's no pressure, and I'm just kind of like, it's kind of like playing by myself, but a little bit more relaxed maybe. But it was a good round. And I literally told her, my wife, I was like, man, I was like, this off season, I feel like I'm just getting worse. And Quinn's just, because he's just like practicing and playing. And so I'm just like trying to figure out what I can do to play more, practice more, because I do this next season. The year before, like my improvement was just like in that 1 year was just like crazy. And then this year I feel like it's going to be a little bit stagnant unless I can figure some stuff out and really focus down. Anything you do, you want to focus down on your strengths, work on your weaknesses, focus on your strengths. You're going to be able to improve quicker than if you focus on everything. So I did order a practice net that's for like baseball or whatever, and it's got like the little target thing, and it's got the hole. I wanted the one with the hole because at Target they had some, but they didn't have the hole. It was just kind of like the one where they bounce off. But I wanted the one with the hole, that way the can go in there. Also practice putting, because even though it's not technically like a basket, I can still practice putting into that little hole or whatever, and just getting that rhythm, working on the motion and the form. So getting some practice in. And so I'm going to set that up in my basement, and work on my sidearm. I really want to work on my sidearm. And then I know a lot of people, when they do that, they record themselves, so you can really work on your form. And I'm hoping, even though I'm not going to be able to be throwing, it's not going to be the same thing. I'm hoping that just doing it over and over, maybe doing it for 30, 40 minutes every single day, it'll at least be something, at least get that muscle memory in, get that strength in that wrist and that motion, get natural to it. And that way, when I do go out and play, and when I go out and start playing, I have a little bit of, not an advantage, but there's more there than not doing anything. So the one I picked up on Amazon was $60, and it's supposed to be really good. So it should set up pretty well in the basement, but that way, I can just, when I get home from work and it's dark, I can go down there for a little bit, do a little bit of practice. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. Hopefully it helps a little bit. But my putting has been taking a beating these last couple of months.
Yeah. And I mean, that's like a pretty good idea with the net, because definitely sometimes if you're out in the field and let's just say a little tiny, teeny gust of wind just ruins your throw, you could then have had the perfect form, perfect release. Everything was great. But because the result was not exactly what you wanted, you're like, oh, well, that wasn't good. Now I have to try to do something else, where that you can really just focus on building that strength, and you don't even have to throw it like, 80, 90%. You can literally just throw it 30% and work on getting the physical motion every single time to where that's just how you throw and you're not injuring yourself. And yeah, that's such a good move. And I like that it was what Matt Bell told us, like I was going to say a couple of shows ago, but it's a little more than a couple of shows ago now at this point. But Matt Bell, we had a great putting podcast with him. If you haven't listened to it, if you're a new listener, go check it out. It's probably 5-ish shows old at this point. He was saying that it's good to warm up for a tournament or whatever, like putting, not using a basket, because you can actually focus on just your putting motion, which I tried it out a couple of times and I definitely can see and understand that. So yeah, I think those are some good things for sure. I've been trying to get to the field more than playing on courses. There's a field that I am not liking a whole lot anymore, just because it's literally right across the street from me, but it's not even remotely even ground. And there's just goose poop everywhere. I mean, I'm not trying to be a baby, but like I literally can't even be on the physical like lot and throw because it's just everywhere. It's everywhere in the grass and just, it's not, I tried to throw in the grass and then I just hit a divot wrong. Like I almost definitely busted my ankle on Friday or Thursday, whenever the last day I was out there, because I slid wrong and it's like, dude, I cannot be out here. So I think I'm going to try to go to a local high school and throw on their football field. Cause also that'll give me the like, hey, how far did I actually throw this? Cause I can throw something and be like, oh, that was so bad. And then walk out there and be like, oh, this actually wasn't that bad. Or I can be like, wow, this was really good. And be like, yeah, dog, you threw that 225. That's really not, and for some people that's great. But for me, for what I'm throwing there, like that disappointment. So yeah, those are kind of some things I'm working on. Obviously putting is something that you can always work on. I think something that I want to do this year is I do want to play more tournaments. Like I want to play our local tour around here, and really compete more. So that's kind of something that I've been focusing on. Like I said earlier, not in this episode, but earlier on our podcast, I did hit my PDGA number. So I'm going to commit to at least 5 tournaments. So it was worth the money. And yeah, I'm excited for 2022. I am definitely excited for 2022. If you're excited for 2022, make sure hit the like button, subscribe, leave us that 5-star rating on Spotify. I know not everyone has it. I picked up my fiance's phone. I said, have you rated us on Spotify yet? And she said, what are you talking about? I literally can't. And she didn't, but I will add a screenshot. If you're watching on YouTube now, we've got 25 ratings, 4.5 stars. So to the person out there who gave us a 1 star, cause you want us to fail, thanks for that. But to everyone else,
did they say why?
No, there's no comment section. It's literally just a rating. Do you have the rating?
Let me see.
Because if you do, you should go give us a 5 stars. And you, listener, if you're listening on Spotify, which is at least 43% of you, if you haven't rated us yet, please go give us that 5-star rating. It's very, very crucial to us, and it gives us that good feedback. And if it's not a 5-star rating, that's cool. Maybe just send us a message as why. What can we do to get better? What do you want to see? Those kinds of things. I really do love when you guys give us the feedback on episodes, because we can then improve. Because with disc golf, with life, everything is about improvement. So yes, very appreciative of that. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, a rating and a written review is very, very helpful for us. And, we're just out here. We're really out here. So very do much appreciate that. Let's kind of transition now, talking a little bit about us, a little bit about 2022. Let's continue our conversation from last week about the 2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour, off season, all those kinds of things. So let's start with the big news. Hailey King and Chris Dickerson have officially announced where they're going to be going. Hailey King is going to Innova. I don't think her deal was made public, or I don't think I heard any information about how long or what it is. And then Chris Dickerson said he signed a 4-year deal worth up to, well, I think he said worth 7 figures, but there is no cap, which I agree, there should be no cap. So yeah, let's talk about those 2 deals. Which one do you want to talk about first?
I would just touch on Hailey King's real quick, but I don't know. I think it's a good move for Innova and Hailey. I mean, I think she kind of did it to, set herself apart, be the face, probably, always a speculation, but I don't know. Maybe she didn't like being, in the shadows of Paige Pierce, constantly being compared to her. She wanted to go do her own thing, prove her own thing. And then also, people are talking about Innova is not as much in social media. They're not as much about like just posting and growing social media. Like they don't really care, which might hurt them in the future. So, it might be a move for her to where she can just, bunker down and just focus on playing and competing and winning. And she doesn't have to care about that other stuff. Discraft, I feel like it's a little bit more public. They're constantly posting videos in the bags, all this other stuff. So I feel like it might be a good place for her to, just showcase her skills and just focus on playing, worry about the other stuff. As long as she's winning, no one's going to care.
Yeah, that is true. And I agree with the fact of, Missy's there, Paige is there. They've got other up and coming FBO players. Innova doesn't really have anybody, especially after losing out on Kona and Valerie. That leaves them with just Evelina inside the top 10 world rankings. It's also interesting. I'm not sure when the last time this was updated. Okay, they were updated October 9th. Okay. Well, so they're a little bit old, but I mean, nothing's really happened since then. And Kristen Tatar and Evelina are 1-2 in the world. And then Paige, Hailey, Hannah, and Missy, Kat, Sarah, Kona, and Valerie. So I think that Innova needed to make this move. I also want to say a little bit that Hailey King needed to make this move. I think her moving on from Discraft and going to an Innova, Prodigy, Dynamic, wherever it is, does give her the ability to compete against those big dogs, to compete against Paige Pierce and to be on the same team with Paige Pierce. Because I know you're a big Hailey King fan. I like Hailey King as well. I think you're a little bit more bullish on her overall performance and overall like projected future than I am. And I think that staying with Discraft, it would always be number 2, number 3, where now, especially if the Euros can't come over, she is the number 1 FPO player for Innova. She's going to get all that attention. She's going to get all the whatever signature series disc she wants. She's going to get everything she wants, and she gets a chance to truly compete against those other top FPO players, which I think is important for her long-term growth, for her, whatever's going to happen in the future. Is she going to become a future world champion with Innova? Is she going, or is it the opposite? Was it, she was so much better with Discraft? I think those are all questions that we're going to learn some answers to.
But just also, I think that competitive, I think will help them grow. I'm very excited to see where Katrina Allen goes. Some people still think she might be going to Discraft, which I think would be crazy. But I just like the competition level. I think sometimes it's good to compete with your teammates because it pushes you harder, but then also there's that, as long as they win, I'm happy. And then I feel like you lose a little bit of that competitiveness. But do you have any, it's been a while now and we still haven't heard anything about Katrina Allen. Do you have any speculations you're feeling a little bit stronger about?
Yes, I think Katrina Allen already has the deal inked, signed. It's been done. They're just waiting for things to calm down so she can get her own moment, is my honest opinion. I think she signs with DGA because DGA is pretty much Discraft, and they did sign Andrew Marweeb this offseason. So they got a high-level Innova player on the MPO side. So I really would not be surprised if they go out and get a high-level FPO player. And they're a company who's like trying to grow into getting more of those top level pros. So I know it's not the sexiest pick out there, but it's Discraft without being Discraft. And I just think that that's a high probability.
It's just, they have like that kind of money, unless it's like, basically Discraft paying it out. But I just don't know if they have that kind of money to sign a player that big, because whatever Katrina Allen's contract now, like it better be a Riku Waisaki like level contract. Yeah. Like it needs to be 7 figures.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it literally could be, though. They're taking the chance. They're like, we are going to give you $1 million and hope to God we get a return on investment, because I do think that you have to spend your money to make money. You know what I'm saying? You have to invest in yourself and invest in your players and stuff to see that investment back. If you don't ever do that, you're never going to get those sales. So I don't know. I think that's it's not Prodigy. I'm sticking with it's not Innova. It's more than likely not Trilogy. Actually, no, it's definitely not Trilogy. Eric McCabe said it's not Trilogy. So that leaves Discraft, DGA, Infinite, OTB, and I don't think it's going to be Discraft. So I default to DGA.
I could see Innova, which then I guess would be tough for Hailey King since she did that move. Especially them, if that was true, signing her for only a 1 year. But then I could also see, because I feel like MVP had a solid year. They signed James Conrad. They probably made some money. I never heard about, the MV before. And then after James Conrad, everybody out at the course had an envy, and it was the best disc in the world. And so I'm sure they made a lot of money. Yeah, I think I could see her going to either MVP or Innova. I just can't see Discraft.
Yeah, I didn't even think about MVP. I mean, they did they signed Madison Walker, I think. and they might have signed another FPO player, and then they re-upped with Raven and Jordan for 2 more years, which I think were good moves for MVP. So I mean, yeah, that's definitely an option. I'm excited to see where she goes. We are getting almost a month-ish away from LVC, so I think it's gonna come sooner or later. It'll probably come out today on Saturday, and then or Sunday, and then when it drops on Monday, everyone's gonna be like, "You idiots! How'd you not see her going to Gateway or I don't know, something silly?" But yeah, so those are the top 2 FPO players left. Hailey signed with Innova. Kat is still a free agent. Assuming she's still a free agent when this drops, let us know. Where do you think she goes? Do you agree with me, DGA Discraft, or do you agree with Horatio? Maybe it's Innova or MVP. Let's talk about Chris Dickerson. Chris Dickerson also signed, and he is with Discraft. A lot of people saw him actually driving, like they gave him a Dickerson RV. I haven't seen it yet,
nice.
But I guarantee you it's sick. I bet if I try hard enough, I could find it on Twitter. And Chris said there were so many people in his DMs like congratulating him before he announced it. And they're like, don't worry, I'm not going to say anything. I would also just like everyone to know that I hit the nail on the head with that Chris Dickerson call out for Discraft, 4 years, 7 fig. I would just like everyone to know that I called that. And now he's a free agent. If I'm going to guess, my guess is he ends up at he's not going to go to Innova. All the players that are free agents right now are not going to Innova. They've already released their team roster. So he's probably not going to Dynamic Discs. Not going to Prodigy, probably not going to Discmania. I don't think that they would add anyone else really big at this point. So that kind of leaves Discraft and like an open back. So I personally think Chris Dickerson is going to Discraft. So I'm going to take my victory lap here. So good for him. I think this was the Discraft is still on top move.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just Discraft. Like they have something to prove and they want the best. Like I don't think it. At this point, I don't see these like semi companies as like teams. Like I see them as a team, but I see it more as of like Nike or whatever. You know, it's like Nike or Adidas. They're gonna try to sign some of the elite players, and it's like you're not really competing against other Nike athletes. Like you're part of the same team just trying to grow that company and sell. So like, you know, if Chris Dickerson and Paul Beth are competing, like sure, like they're 2 Discraft people competing for each other, but you know, it's on them to win. But I don't think the company really cares as long as they're competing, period, because that's their name out there. That's the disc getting thrown out there. And so the most top players that you can sign that are going to be on Jomez every weekend, and they're going to be on the final and competing for the majors and the elite events, the better it's going to be for your company. So I'm just super excited. Dickerson, he seems like a super cool dude, and he got the bag. We didn't know what Kevin Jones ended up signing for, but I'm guessing that this was probably more. If it was enough for him to leave and him for, you know, getting an RV and everything, I'm sure he ended up getting paid what he needed to. So out of this, you know, competition between companies is happening, causing the players to get paid and give more motivation and inspiration for the young players coming into the sport and for other people thinking about going pros. So that's just going to up the level of competition even more. You know, right now we talk about there being, you know, 10, 11 on the MPO players any given weekend that could win the tournament. It's possible, you know, if one of those 10, like they're taking it. But, you know, if they don't, there's 9 other players consistently who can take that. So, you know, I feel like in 10 years, it's going to be, you know, 20, 25 players any given weekend that can win. I don't think we're ever going to see another like Paul Macbeth, you know, with 5 world championships, unless, you know, Eagle McMahon or like Calvin Heimberg, like just hit that next level and just go Super Saiyan. Eagle McMahon is definitely one that I can see kind of going off and just dominating for a few years. just based off of his like previous like couple years. And I feel like this last season he really showed that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's going to be dominance like Paul or Ricky or Ken, any of those dudes again. I also agree. I think Chris Dickerson got significantly more than Kevin Jones did. And I am going to try to find a sound effect for this, but I'm going to bring up our almost weekly comparison to F1, disc golf and F1. Insert sound effect if I can find one here. I wish there was some kind of a constructors championship for disc golf, because like, what's the point of being teammates if it doesn't matter in the end? You know what I'm saying? Like let's say, here's the outline that I have, right? The top 50 get for MPO and the top 15 for FPO, maybe top 20 get points. And at the end of the year, whichever manufacturer has the most points wins the manufacturer's championship. Like, I feel like that's something that's pretty easy to come up, is not going to require a lot of extra work, and then gives more incentive for, I'm only playing for 38th, but if I can get 27th, like that's important for the team. And, maybe there's bonuses around that, and the Pro Tour or the PDJ or whatever gives out a bonus for finishing first, second, whatever it is. I don't know. I think that would make disc golf more exciting. The team atmosphere would matter more, because yes, you obviously still want to win. You want to win the worlds, you want all that stuff. But then it is kind of like, hey, having a good roster does actually matter, not just having one good player. And I know not everyone can support that many players, but just a thought that I think would be fun.
Yeah, because I think it would become kind of the same thing that the F1 is now. There's like 2 or 3 teams that are going to be constantly at the top, and everyone else is just like there in the field. It would literally be Innova and Discraft like constantly competing for that championship every single year, just because they have so many. Like Dynamic Discs, they took the #1 player in the world, but like he wouldn't have as much other players to help him out to get those points. Same with Discmania. Like, they have some of the best players in the world, but they literally have like 5. Like, it would be
okay. I have my comparisons for all you F1 fans out there. Here are my comparisons. Discraft is Mercedes. Innova is Ferrari.
I'll say Red Bull.
Nah. Red Bull's Discmania. Because Red Bull has the up and comer. They're going to be the next, that dude. They've got Kyle, they've got Eagle, like they're Red Bull. And Ferrari used to be really good. Innova used to have Kenny in 112 world title. They're not as good now. They're trying to get back to there. So they're Ferrari. And then Dynamic is McLaren. Always kind of sort of there. Has won some championships, but probably isn't going to finish inside the top 2. And then you've got like Prodigy as I don't know, like AlphaTauri, and then they're Alpine. They're the one with Esteban and Alonso. I can't remember what they're called. And then you've got like the others that just go down the list, whatever you can pick. But I don't know. That's just something that I kind of came up with off the dome. And if you do understand F1 at all, and please comment if you hate us talking about F1 on this podcast and making those comparisons. But it is one of those things where I do think that the signing of Chris Dickerson, the overall point that I'm trying to make here, just ensures the fact that Discraft is the #1. They have him, they have Adam, they have Paul, they have Yuli, they have Ezra, they have Tim, they have Paige, Missy, all these players that all of those players could finish inside Andrew Presnell. All those players could finish inside the top 15 very easily this year. You can't say that about anyone else. Like, they are the #1 in the sport right now. The signing of Chris Dickerson proves they had all those ESP buzzes that you could buy 10 of them if you wanted. And it took them, I think, under 24 hours. I think it took them like 6 hours to sell out. And I guarantee they had a buttload of those. If you could get as many as you wanted, I guarantee they had a buttload of those. So I think that, they're very much on top for me.
The first day there was like 800 of different colors and stuff. But then, yeah, they finally sold out, which I'm like, man, like he just made a few racks on that first disc. Just to see what he made in that signature buzz, his first one in sales compared to how much he made at Prodigy in disc sales, like overall. Because I would feel like he's probably either close to reaching what he sold over there, or it was maybe more. Because I didn't really see many people, throwing signature Chris Dickerson discs. I know his people are huge fans, and they definitely support him a lot. But I feel like a lot of them are going to go over to Discraft. So I want to talk a little about just what some of these expectations.
Hold on. Before we get in there, let's get into Nico LaCastro real quick. Not very long. Let's just talk about Nico real quick, and then let's get into it. Nico parted ways with Westside, still unsigned. Literally no info. Do you have any guess where you think he's going to go? And does it matter?
No, like on his Instagram, he still has sponsorship. He's posting stories and videos, still throwing Westside. I feel like he doesn't know, because I remember reading, I think it was like an early termination. I don't know if he left. I think it was like they didn't re-sign him or they let him go.
He had 2 years left on his deal, and he got out, or they got out. Both of them got out. I don't know. Yeah. I think he's going to go unsponsored, to be honest.
Infinite or somewhere like open bag, maybe. Like
he's so good, but he's also so polarizing and just can go from really high to really low, very good, very bad. Like I don't know who at this point is willing to sign up for that. And I think there's a good chance that he goes unsponsored and throws whatever he wants, which I don't know. Maybe that's the best for him. I don't know. I can't say that I'm a big Nico fan. I just wanted to get that out there. See if you had any predictions. If I have to guess somewhere, I'm going to say DGA or Infinite or OTB. Those are my top 3 guesses.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be a big one.
No. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah. So, I mean, we saw these huge contracts, people getting tons of money and, breaking news, but like now they have to perform. There's your thoughts on some of these, or the people that didn't renew their big contracts, or like they saw these other players' contracts and they're just sitting on the side because they still have, another 2 years and they don't want to leave, but they're also like, hey, like I'm better than that person, or like I know that I can do better than them. Like, what are your thoughts on, both sides, like the players that got the bags and then the other ones that didn't, and they're watching this, like, what are your expectations for this next season based off of that?
I think that it kind of goes along with what we were talking about earlier, how no one is going to dominate. Like, I think if you win 2 Pro Tour events, assuming you're not terrible everywhere else, you probably had a really successful season. So I think for those big dogs who got the bag, I think you are expected to win or consistently finish inside the top 10, top 5, those kinds of things. Like I think that Ricky will have 3 wins this year, including Worlds. I think Paul will have 3 wins, including Worlds or USDGC or any kind of major. And then I expect Eagle to have at least 2 wins. I think those are the only 3 where I truly expect a W. Chris Dickerson, I expect top 5s. Calvin Heimberg, I expect top 5s. Kevin Jones, I expect top 10s. I also think that disc golf is so, anyone truly can put together a hot tournament, hot round, something like that. And there's going to be surprises. There's going to be guys now that we haven't even heard of that are going to be breakouts this year. What if Scott Stokely messes around and wins a tournament or 2? What if Brody Smith wins a tournament or 2 this year? What if Gavin Rathbun gets healthy, wins a tournament or 2? Garrett Gerthy gets a tournament. There's so many guys. Drew Gibson, literally the list can continue to go on. So I think expectations are, if you got the bag, you are a top 10, 15 player in the world and you have a chance at winning. There's a massive difference, in my opinion, from guys who are that top 10, 15 and have a chance at winning every week, and the guys who you know are not going to win. They can come close, but they're not going to get the job done. And there's a massive difference between those two. Who are you? And I think that kind of breaks down who's getting the bag, who's not getting the bag, right? And it's one of those things where I think that this is the most competitive disc golf has ever been. It will only continue to get more competitive, and the Disc Golf Pro Tour will only continue to get better. So I think it's really a perfect storm. And I think that rankings wise, if you got the bag, you are expected to finish inside the top 15, and you are expected to grow your social media. You are expected to sell discs, all those things. If you didn't get the bag, or if you're still on your deal, if I'm that person, this is my prove it time, right? If I can prove I'm worth it right now, if I can prove I can win, if I can prove that I can sell discs, all those things, you will eventually get the bag as well. You have to earn it. I don't think it should just be given to you, right? Because if you were just given the big contract, if you're given the bag, if you're given all of this, there's a high likelihood it's going to be a bad investment, because at the end of the day, the player wants the most money that they can get, the most guaranteed everything that they can get, and the company wants to give the least amount that they can get. It's literally supply and demand. It's literally basic economics, consumer, supplier, all those things. So there is a middle point of you have to show your manufacturer or another manufacturer that you can do it and that you are worth it, right? If you're somebody who finishes 30th every week and you sell a decent amount of discs, but it's nothing special, you're not getting the bag. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. You can be fine. You can have opportunities to get more, but you're not, I don't think you can have the expectation that I'm going to make six figures. I don't think that would be realistic.
I think it's really going to make some people motivate some players, be like, wow, that's like a possibility. Some people probably didn't even think that it was possible to make that much or under contracts, but now they saw it. So they're like, that's my goal, or like, it's possible. Like, if I'm going to be doing this, like, I need to be doing it for real, and really like, oh, if I can go out and prove I can beat that player, then I have something to take to my company or another company and show them like, hey, this is what they're doing every weekend. This is what I'm doing. I want to get paid more. So it'd be very exciting to see. A couple that people that signed that I'm very excited to see is Kona. I feel like she has a ton of expectation just on the size of the deal she got, and coming to a company like Dynamic Discs, who is smaller than some of these other bigger companies, so they're like, wow, you guys paid this player this much money. Okay, let's see, if it works out. And then I would say another one, Chris Dickerson, because I feel like, he had a good show in Prodigy. He had good showings at tournaments, but just with the competition that he's going to have at Discraft with Pomp, Ezra, Hammett, Ulibarri, I feel like they have so many, couple more that I'm forgetting on any given weekend. He's going to have to prove himself, because, there's probably players at Discraft are as good as him, definitely probably not getting paid as much based off of this new contract. So I feel like he is going to have to set himself apart, and he's going to have something to prove, which I feel like he loves that. He seems like very competitive, especially getting paid as much as he is. I feel like he's going to take it very personal and be like, they believe in me this much. They were willing, to help me out, get me out of my contract and put me out, because he's going to tour more now than he was the previous years, because he has an RV, he has more money. So, we saw him at not even a complete tour, and we would see him constantly. So I'm very excited to see what those two do based off of their contracts.
I mean, Chris Dickerson's ranked 4th in the world right now, and that was not being able to play a full tour. Like, I genuinely think Chris, outside of, I think his world ranking of 4 is correct. There's Ricky, Paul, and Eagle, and then it's Chris Dickerson. And we've had him on the show before after he won USDGC. Awesome guy, love learning and talking to him, and he is built different. And I think there's a stigma out there. I personally have not thrown a whole lot of Prodigy outside of the PA3, so I don't know. But word on the street is that their mids, like fairways and drivers, are not as good as their putters. Like, their putters are like what makes Prodigy so good. And you move on from Prodigy to literally immediately coming out with a signature series Buzz. The Buzz, arguably the best disc, the only disc you need to play disc golf with. The Buzz, you can putt, you can drive, you can approach everything with it. Immediate. and him immediately saying this is the best disc golf disc. Like, and of course he's going to say that he wants to sell more, blah, 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 blah. But I also legitimately think he believes it. And I legitimately think that Discraft plastic and molds are better than Prodigies. So you give this dude who's already fourth in the world the same tools that Paul McBeth has. Oh my gosh. I just don't see how he doesn't have success.
It's going to be exciting. I'm ready for the season to get started. And, I think this is going to be some of the best disc golf we have ever seen.
Let's make some predictions about the 2022 season. Right now, early predictions. It's January. LVC is in a month-ish. Paul McBeth will not be there. He dropped his tour schedule. He will not be at the LVC. He also has like 3 or 4 tournaments in a row where he's going to be overseas in Europe. So I'm interested to see if everyone else is going to be over there, if that's something that he's doing. Like, I think Paul is entering the stage of his career where he doesn't care where he's at with like tour points. I don't think that matters. I think
he's very
cares
smart
about his majors, and him going and playing over in Europe gives him an opportunity to continue to break into that market that he's not able to touch right now.
Yeah, no, Paul McBeth is super smart about his schedule. He knows what he has to play to get the most points, and probably the tournaments that cash out the highest he's got, and the endorsements to where he doesn't have to play every single tournament like some of these other players. Some of these other players aren't making as much as he is, so they have to play every single tournament. He's very smart about what he plays, and he's still, based on those tournaments, it's able to come up with top. I mean, last year he won Disc Golf Pro Tour for most points, and because he picks very, very smartly. But yeah, so right now, I mean, we have Ricky Wysocki number 1, Paul number 2, which he moved up a spot last year. Eagle McMahon number 3, he moved down a spot. Chris Dickerson 4, he moved up a spot. Calvin Heimberg moved down a spot. Kyle Klein, Adam Hammis, Matteo, Nate Sexton, and Drew Gibson number 10, who moved up 7 spots. I'll go first, just quick prediction how we might be able to see at the end of next year this power rankings. We'll see Adam Hammis move up a couple spots. Kyle Klein, man, this thing is stacked. Like, this is tough.
It's hard to move somebody up.
I think that Eagle McMahon will move either up to second or first, and that Ricky Wysocki will not be the number 1 in the world next year. Chris Dickerson, I say he either stays there or he moves down a spot at number 4. Calvin Heim, I say that he will move up a spot or 2. And then Nate Sexton, I say he'll probably drop a spot next year. Drew Gibson, I can see him moving up a spot. And then not in the top 10 that I could see in the top 10 next year. Kevin Jones.
Maybe some of the Europeans.
Yeah.
Say your boy Anthony Barella.
Nah, I would definitely see him move spots. I mean, he's in 30th, but I'll definitely see him moving up a few spots.
If you had to pick somebody outside the top 20 to go into the top 10 this year, who would you say?
In the top 20?
No, they have to be 21st or worse, and they end up inside the top 10. Who do you think it would be?
Oh, wow. That's a lot. 21st or worst.
I have my
I'm gonna
answer.
go with Ezra.
That's a good one. I think
he moved up 13 last year.
I think Gannon Burr is a high probability. He's literally at 21, so that's kind of cheating. So if I go down, I'm going to say, yeah, Ezra's a good one. I also think Benny C. I think Ben Callaway. And last year was his first year on tour. Give him another year. The dude can absolutely rip on discs. So I think he's and he's still a younger guy. So I think he's got a good probability of it. So if I have to give you my top 10, so here's some predictions that I have for the top 10. I think Ricky will stay at number 1. I think Ricky is back to his best discs possible. So I think he stays at number 1. I think Paul McBeth is outside the top 5. And I think moving forward, I guess I have Ricky, and then I'm going to say Eagle McMahon, Chris Dickerson, Adam Hammis, Kyle Klein, and then I'm going to go Paul, Calvin, Drew Gibson, Joel Freeman, James Conrad, Gannon Burr, and I think Nate Sexton's outside the top 10. I think Matteo is outside the top 10. I think, like I said, I think Paul kind of drops to 5, but big key here. I think even though he's at 5 and not 2, I think he wins at least one major in 2022.
Paul?
Yeah.
Wow, man, you really do not believe in the GOAT anymore.
No, I'm not. It's not me saying I don't believe in him. It's me saying I think there's going to be other dudes who make jumps and he's going to still win the tournament that counts, right? He's still going to win Worlds or USDGC or whatever major it is. He's still going to win one of those. It's just since he's not playing the same schedule as everyone, he's not. Maybe he drops down a couple of pegs.
That's the thing. He plays the ones that he knows are going to get him the most. He would have to play an absolutely awful year to drop from second to the top 5 to the bottom 5.
I don't think so though, because I expect Adam and Kyle and Chris to all take another step forward. It's just natural progression. Unless Adam and Kyle take massive steps back, I think it's natural progression that they get inside the top 5 or knocking on the door.
Yeah, but those three are in a different level. Like, yeah, those others that you're talking about improving, like they're gonna improve a lot. But these are literally called the 1050 boys. Like they're in a different they're in the level of their own. Like Ricky Wysocki has a 52.31, Paul Macbeth has a 48.42, Eagle McMahon has a 46.42. Next person in 4th place is 29.3. Like he is
rating?
How many points? In the dominance, I'm looking at the world rankings, the power rankings.
Dominance index.
Yeah, so you have.
Can you explain what that is for people who maybe haven't heard of that before?
So that's a difference of 17 points. So I'll just give you guys the definition. So it's what is the dominance index? Dominance index is a way to directly compare two players. The probability that a player with dominance index D1 defeats a player with dominance index D2 in a head-to-head matchup is given by player 1 beats player 2 equals D1 over D1 plus D2. So, for example, the probability that Ricky Wysocki beats Paul Macbeth in a head-to-head matchup is, so it puts his point, so 52.31 over Ricky's dominance, which is 52.31 plus 48.42, which is Paul Macbeth's, equals 51.93. So he has a probability of 51 of beating Beth. So if you go down this thing, and you put a player like, so you put Paul Macbeth and Chris Dickerson, it's like 75% probably. Because right now, based off of this, Ricky Wysocki has a 51% chance of beating Paul Macbeth. So it's like 50-50.
Okay.
So Ricky, Paul Macbeth, and Eagle McMahon are, so 46 is the lowest. And then you go into Chris, who 29, Calvin 28, Kyle Klein 28, Adam Hammis 22. Like how much they would need to improve and how badly the other top 3 would have to play for them to replace them is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, but like, let's even, I know PDGA player ratings are broken, but Ricky's at 1054, Eagle 1053, Paul 1050, Calvin 1047, Chris 1045, and then you see Adam at 1041 and Kyle at 1039. I just believe that Kyle and Adam take that next progression, right? There has to be somebody who takes the next step. Eagle McMahon, Calvin Heimberg, a couple years ago, we could have been saying the same exact things about them. And those people could have been like, oh, well, that's not going to happen. Eagle's not going to be number 2 in the world. And now look at him. He's number 2 knocking on the door for number 1. So I think that we're just at a point where those two dudes are in it and good enough that there has to be more to their ceiling. What more are we getting out of Paul, Ricky? Eagle has more to give, but what further ceiling is there for those guys? I think that Kyle and Adam have a ceiling that's untapped and hasn't been touched yet.
What's Adam's rating?
41. Yeah, 1041.
We'll see next year. I mean, those are our predictions. Let us know what you guys have as far as predictions. Anyone going to dominate? Who's going to be their breakout year? I'm hoping that this is Calvin Heimberg's breakout year. But everyone is going to have something to prove. Like that's the beauty about disc golf. It's a individual sport. You're not competing really against anyone else. I mean, you're competing against yourself. If you can dominate. And I feel like a great example of this is Eagle McMahon. When Eagle McMahon is able to be centered and be in the zone and have his like feelings and emotions under control, he absolutely dominates. And so it's like a competition within himself when he can, beat those inner demons of whatever doubt, whatever it is, he dominates. And all these players, it's the same thing because it's an individual thing. So everyone has something to prove. Everyone wants to be at the top. And so it'll be super exciting.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like I said, this is going to be the best year for disc golf. Might even have to get a DGN subscription again, and hope the commentary gets better. It's so bad. Might have to do that. Like Horatio said, let us know. What are you guys thinking? Again, if you enjoy shows like this, please let us know. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, wherever it is. Let us know that you're liking this. Let us know your predictions. We love hearing from you guys. Big thank you to everyone for all your support in 2021, heading into 2022. So excited. I am wishing it was not so cold outside so we can get out there and clank some chains. Hopefully you're able to clank some chains, and we are out of here. I think that's all we've got for this show. We've got some fun interviews lined up. We've got a pretty big event. We're going to have our first show with multiple interviews at the same time coming up. So you're going to want to make sure you hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss out on that. It's going to be so much fun. But without further ado, we're done. We'll see you guys next Monday. Thank you for listening to the Chain Clankers podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chain Clankers and hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening to us from so you never miss another episode.